please hit the record button now?
At least it.
You have a lion, and two of you have the lacy face mask. That's very, very good. Looks like you put your grandma's curtain over your head or something. I don't know.
I'm being mauled by my lion.
And you see what? I don't know that Kelly is even on the call. Don't.
I am watching.
She's here
Okay,
for it.
Kelly.
As long as I have treats. As long as I have treats, she's here.
I just want everyone to be sure they can tell their story, because I think there are some stories that don't get told because we're at the end, and I'd like to use the next minute or two. Anybody got a story? What about you, Laura? What's this all about? Glennis, who is that? Okay, Laura, yeah. Oh my God in heaven.
A lion.
I see that. Yes, and you made a little lion.
Where is Laura Miller?
I can't even speak right now, right? I can't.
What? Can you hear me?
Look at you. This is an entirely different take on the glam. I guess this would be what, out of Africa days right here? No, the glam version. I don't even know who this is with the red and the, I don't recognize you.
Lovely, it's Kate.
Kate got into the spirit of things. Oh my God.
That's fabulous.
It took me a few weeks, but I'm here, honey.
Boy, are you here. You are here in spirit and in outfit. So glad to see you. Can I just ask you each to either take a selfie or take a screenshot of yourself? But, oh my gosh, we have too much fun with this to not be able to promote the devil out of it. Some of you, I mean, how many pieces of how much wildlife do we have in the audience at this point? Laura and Kara?
Wildlife. They didn't really cooperate, so typical of the animals in safari, just taking a nap, not paying attention.
Filling out. Okay.
Yeah. So I got to see him, but
well-trained safari animals over here.
Oh my gosh.
Love it. I
Well,
love
Lyndsey, this is our community, the good, the bad, and the ugly, can I say?
I'm going to join every week. This is the funnest group I've been with so far.
That's what we live for, to be told that every week. It's true.
I'm really excited because Wilson, he was so nice. It's a little late in Kenya over there, but he was so nice to join us.
He did?
Yes, he's on here right now.
Hello.
Wilson, can you say hi to everybody?
Hello, everyone.
hi.
Hello.
Yeah, so I thought, I don't know if you want me to get started just yet, but yeah, I figured we'll let Wilson start. He can answer any questions. I'm actually going to do the live safari, and he'll kind of narrate us through and talk about the Conservancy, and then we'll let him hop off so he can get some sleep, and then I'll jump in and do a bit of a presentation on Mahali. So let me just try to share. Can I just get the ability to share my screen?
Yep.
Thank you.
There you go.
Perfect. So for those of you who don't know, Wilson is our general manager at Mahali Mzuri. Let's see here. Okay. So hopefully you can see this backdrop, and I'll just let Wilson take it away.
Wow. Yeah, hello everyone. Welcome to Kenya, Mahali Mzuri.
Wow.
Virtually, that is. But yeah. So as you can see on that lovely screenshot there, that's part of our conservancy. Mahali Mzuri is located in Olare Motorogi Conservancy, the wider Maasai Mara ecosystem. And while at Mahali Mzuri, you actually treated to a front row seat of wildlife. So this is one of our live virtual safari, sofa safari as we call it, that we've been running since COVID-19 hit us, now that the camp is closed. But we thought we should continue engaging our guests and our people so that they can know what is happening out there in the bush. And I would say that life is normal in the bush. Wildlife, animals are going about their business and their usual life. To them, life is normal. The new normal does not exist in their life. So here you see, these are Cape buffaloes. So just to give you a few facts about Cape buffaloes. They generally live on the plains, and but some will also live on the rivers or woodland, like you can see in that photo or the video. And true buffaloes are actually found only in Africa and Asia. I'm sure most of you know that. And they can be up to 7 feet long and stand up to 6 feet tall. And they weigh up to 2,000 pounds.
Wow.
Big animals, these ones. And actually, buffalo is one of the big fives. So because of this weight. So the others will be your lions, the leopard, rhino, and the elephant. So if you come to Mahali Mzuri, one is assured of seeing at least 4 of the big fives. It's only the rhino that it's very elusive, but yeah, in the Maasai Mara, we do have quite a number of rhinos as well. The average lifespan of a buffalo is between 11 to 25 years. They are herbivorous and can feed up to 60 pounds of grass and plant material. And usually they are considered to be adults at the age of 3 years, from 3 years old, one of the adult. And the mating season for buffaloes usually is between July and October. So today being the 1st of July, if you come to Mahali Mzuri, chances of seeing buffaloes mating very high between now and October. Gestation period is 9 months, and calves, when they're born, it's very interesting. You'll see they're kind of tan in color. Actually, if you see a calf of a buffalo, you wouldn't even know that it's a buffalo until when they start growing. And they're dependent on the mother at least 1 year. So those are just biological facts about buffalo. But from experience, buffaloes, my personal experience with having been in the wild for over 15 years, is that buffaloes are some of the most feared wildlife. Actually, if you ask me, we don't fear lions more than we fear buffaloes. And buffalo, when they are close to you, like this one here looking at us, they look at you, they gaze at you actually with a very sharp eye. And I normally say they look at you as if you owe them some money and they want it back. Very, very dangerous, I would say. Very skittish and very daring. So while out in the bush, actually, even those hunters who try to poach wildlife, they really fear buffaloes. So we have plenty of them. They live in a herd of between 50 to 500. And as they grow older, usually the male will separate from the female. And they'll come in bands of like 10 of them. We call them the dagger boys. And they like banding together as a way of security from predators. And those ones are dangerous, they're vicious. They can attack at a go, just as a way of protecting themselves. Other than that, they're very lovely animals to look at. While at Mahali Mzuri, our guides will drive you very close to them, up close and candid. You'll feel adrenaline all over your body. And as they gaze at you, looking at you, wondering what you're up to. But while you're on the jeep, it's safe. And our guide will always advise you that while with wildlife, just stay calm, don't make any unnecessary movement. And because usually when you're there, they don't see you, they only see the jeep, which they're used to seeing them driving around the conservancy. So yeah, it's a part of the big five at Mahali Mzuri. That's one thing you're able to see. So Mahali Mzuri, our conservancy is 15,500 hectares. And within the conservancy, we only have 5 member camps that will come together to conserve the conservancy. So what we do actually in conservation in Maasai Mara is very simple. We just protect the grass. As simple as it might appear, but it can be very challenging because you see Maasai Mara or the conservancy where we are located is actually a community land. So we have, once in a while, you'll see cattle grazing close by. So that's what we like to do, protect the conservancy. And we've come up with an agreement with the landowners whereby we protect the conservancy from overgrazing. And as you do that, the wildlife just multiplies by itself. So it's quite a wonderful way of conservation. A good thing in Kenya generally, hunting or poaching is very rare or not as much. And the government has got a very high penalty when it comes to poaching. Actually, it's death sentence almost, like shoot, kill. So poachers keep off. So the only challenge we have mostly is protecting the land from overgrazing. And the beauty of it is Maasai community that actually co-inhabit with the wildlife. According to their culture, they do not eat game meat. So Maasai people can live or coexist with wildlife in a very harmonious way. So we don't have cases of poaching. That's really good, especially considering that most of this wildlife are endangered. Buffalo will be endangered in terms of bushmeat, but we've seen their population increase exponentially over the years. So our game drives usually start in the morning. Our guides would like to drive you out from early mornings. We generally do 2 safaris, one in the morning, one in the afternoon. The morning one tends to be very productive because when it is cool, animals tend to be very active. Your chances of seeing even live kills is very high. And apart from buffaloes, of course, we have the general game is just amazing around the camp. So, and the entire conservancy. So you see the buffaloes, generally grazers and herbivores are plenty, zebras, gazelles, all types of gazelles. And of course, if you're lucky, you might see lions or predators lurking behind them trying to get a feast. You can, as you are out on drive, of course, you'll be treated with such kind of beautiful plains as you can see. And it's open plains, some woodlands up the hills and rocky places. So quite interesting topography generally. Something that I think, especially post-COVID or now that with the pandemic that we have, this is a place where it's quite ideal for somebody to just get away, whereby you go and breathe some fresh air and just have the conservancy almost by yourself. As you know, the five member camps, our total capacity is only 94 beds. So in 13,500 acres, you can just imagine the amount of space that everyone will have. So that's one beautiful thing. And our guide will drive you out. Some stops on the way, like in the morning, you'll have your tea, coffee stop out there in the bush. Park your jeep somewhere, either out on the plains or by the riverbanks. We do have beautiful rivers, small rivers or streams. And yeah, just have your tea, coffee, or breakfast out in the bush. So lovely, just watching around, and you can see on the side, on the sides, there are nice, beautiful hills, and that flow into the plains and connects all the way into Serengeti National Park. So you know that Maasai Mara is connected with Serengeti at the Kenya-Tanzanian border. So this is one of the experiences you'll see, especially when you walk around. And buffaloes usually are in big herds. Like this, the herd that we're seeing, it's what we call a breeding herd. Between 50 up to 500 of them with calves. And a breeding herd tend to be calmer than the dagger boys or herd that is retired. And usually they're very protective of the young ones. They band in a group of herds. And one of the most beautiful experiences I've ever had while I was out on drive is having met such a big, huge breeding herd. And then from the other side came these 2 lions. And the buffaloes were coming, and they're actually going for like a head-on-head collision with the lions. And oh my, there was this standoff. Because buffaloes, when they're in a herd like that, are very courageous. And even predators like lions, you know, they'll always keep off. But these 2 lions decided. Of course, you know, lions, they believe that the king of the jungle. And whenever they see that, and of course, when they are calves in the group, they want to go and some will try their luck and get some food. And there's a serious standoff. And that's when you know that even lions will run away from buffaloes, because buffaloes will come and attack, especially to protect the young one and to protect the herd or the family. And the lions were taken off. Another feature that you can see as we drive around is those beautiful trees. These are flat-topped acacia trees. They're littered around the conservancies. So our guides will stop under one of the trees. You can have your breakfast there. or just some doner if it's in the evening. Yeah, and enjoy your gin and tonic with adrenaline. Of course, you can imagine when you step out of the jeep, yeah, and you never know what's lurking out in the bush there. If it's in the evening, mostly from around 6, because our evening safari starts around 4 and then goes until 7 p.m. You'll hear lions roaring from the distance. And the guide will be driving around the bushes, trying to see if they can find anything. And once in a while, small creatures or even night wildlife like advert will be jumping out of the bush. So quite really interesting. Yeah, and the tree, the other small bushes you're seeing there, that is it's a very common tree around the Maasai Mara. These are croutons, yeah, like this one now we're seeing. During dry season, they turn into orange color. And lions especially like hiding under the trees. And the crouton produces a secretion, which it's like a herbicide, protects the lions from insects or wildlife generally. So you'll see them hang around. And the Maasai also uses the croutons, the orange leaf croutons, for medicinal purposes. Yeah? As you know, Maasais have kept their tradition as much. Yeah, and as you drive around the conservancy, we have rivers and ponds like this one. So this pond is actually very close to the camp. I think a few meters away from the camp. It's a hippo pond. So here you'll find a school of hippos just banding together in the pond. So hippos are also very interesting animals. And did you know that, contrary to what most people think, hippos are the ones that actually have killed the highest number of people in Africa, and yet they are not. They're herbivorous, you know. They're not predators like hell. The reason being that hippos, of course, spend up to 16 hours in the rivers or in a water pond like this one. This is a seasonal river. It flows during rainy season. Yeah, so when our mothers go to the river to fetch water, that's where they end up meeting the hippos. And hippos usually protect their territory vigorously. So they spend quite a long time. They love water, hence the Greeks call them river horse. And they can be submerged in river or pool of water for up to 16 hours of the day. Usually this is just to keep their massive body cool under the hot African sun, as you know. And they are very graceful when underwater. They're very good swimmers despite their body, and can hold their breath up to 5 minutes. If you drive and park next to the pond, you'll see them going under the water and stay there up to 5 minutes before they come out. And usually the large body allows them to simply walk under the bank of the river or the water when it's shallow. Their eyes and nostrils usually are located high on their heads, which allow them to see and breathe while mostly submerged. It's amazing how they do it. They also bask on the shoreline, and especially in the evenings when the sun is not scorching out, you'll find them out on the water basking. Even sometimes daytime when it's too hot, just to relax and enjoy the sun a little bit. And did you know that their body usually secretes a red substance, which gives rise to the myth that people think that they sweat blood. But actually, this is it's just a liquid which actually is a skin moistener that keeps the skin, acts like a sunblock. So keep the skin, protect the skin against the germs and also against the sun. Hippos have got a very sensitive skin. If you see them, you just see how sensitive it is. So that secretion keeps it from, acts like sunblock to them. Then in the evening, usually hippos will leave the pond or river where they're staying, and they'll travel overland to graze. And they may travel up to 6 miles in the night on a single file pathways. And it's interesting, as you drive around the pond, you'll always see that single file that they walk following each other throughout the night, up to 6 miles. And they'll graze up to 80 pounds of grass. They feed mostly on grass. But this amount of food is considered relatively slow if you compare their body size. They're huge. I've seen hippo. If you come to Mara, I think around, and this pond just close to the camp, this is one of the places, having worked in Serengeti in the past, this is the first place where I saw hippo out of water. And actually, it was on my birthday, December 8th. I'd gone out as a birthday treat on a drive in the evening, and I found this huge, big hippo, just got on, it's around 6. So I drove around with my guide, we just drove following it. It's amazing how you see them out of water grazing. And hippos usually they calve, and hippo calve once every 2 years, and their calves will weigh up to 100 pounds when they are born. Yeah, and that's Sofa Safari by our guides. And those are just 2 of the animals that you'll see, but believe you me, the Conservancy is prolific when it comes to game viewing. And this is all year round. It's usually most people come, like now we're expecting the migration to start soon. They're just at the border of Kenya and Tanzania. And I would say that it's good to see the migration, the wildebeest in their thousands, but that does not mean that July all the way to September is the only time when you come to a conservancy or to Maasai Mara, you'll see one. Generally, all year round is lots of wildlife. We have all the big 5 in the Maasai Mara ecosystem, the grazers, and another good thing is, well, at Mahali Mzuri, you can also engage on a night game drive. Being a private conservancy, of course, we have our own rules and regulations, slightly different from the National Reserve. So yeah, we can allow you to go out on a night game drive. Also, we can do off-road driving, especially when it is dry. That means that our guides can drive you very close to the wildlife, and you can even use your cell phone to take very good photos of wildlife. You don't need big camera lenses unless you are an avid photographer. But yeah, that's one of the difference and the advantages of being in a private conservancy. Yeah, we can talk about wildlife all night long, but yeah, if you have any question, maybe you can pause and yeah, can help. But Mahali Mzuri is...
Wilson, I do have one question. What's the largest group that you're comfortable with taking out for these excursions?
Our camp can accommodate up to 24 guests in total. We have 12 tents. So ideally we could take the whole group out. But if you're on a jeep will take average up to 6 people. So every guide will have at least 6 people in a jeep maximum that we can take out on the drive. But we can take as big as 24, the maximum of our capacity of our camp.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions for Wilson? And then we can let him sign off. I hope.
And just also to add on, for children, yeah, we can take also children out on drive, of course, with parent consent. If they're younger, like between 2 and 6 years old, we will recommend that they go out on a closed jeep. We can get a closed jeep, because if you've seen our photos of our game drive vehicle, they're really open, which is great for game drive viewing. So imagine with that open vehicle, you can, if you go close to an elephant, it's just amazing. Yeah, the elephant will be just like an arm's away. But if you have smaller children, because children might not be able to keep to the rules of the guides and the guidelines, usually we recommend that they do take, we do have a closed jeep. It's safer for them if they happen to make some noise or shout in excitement, at least it won't startle the wildlife. But 6-year-old and above, usually they tend to be more responsible. So yeah, I can allow them to go out with the open jeep.
I have a question.
Yes.
I have a question. How far, and maybe you covered this before, where's the closest airport? Where would people fly into?
So as you fly into Nairobi, of course, and then from Wilson Airport, from Nairobi International Airport, Jomo Kenyatta, you get yourself to Wilson Airport. If you charter a flight, they can fly you direct from Nairobi International Airport to Jomo Kenyatta straight into our airstrip, Olare airstrip within the Conservancy. Otherwise, you fly from Wilson Airport, take a scheduled flights into Olare airstrip. And Olare airstrip is within our Conservancy, and it's only 25 minutes drive to come. And that's a slow drive. It's a game drive en route to come. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not bad at all.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Wilson. That was really great. Yeah, and we'll let you go and I'll jump into a presentation, but we appreciate you being here and good to see you.
Thanks to Lyndsey, and thank you everyone for joining.
Thank you. Wave to Wilson,
you.
everybody. Thank
Bye,
you so
Wilson.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye. Have a lovely time.
All right, so I'm gonna jump on to my PowerPoint here. So let's see. Here we are. So I hope that was enjoyable. We've been doing the Sofa Safari, which I'll get to in a minute. Wilson has some really great facts for us. So you can tune in. I'll let you know when that is each week. So yeah, so my name is Lyndsey Balog. I am the Regional Sales Executive. I am based out of New York City, and I cover the Northeast, Midwest, Carolinas, and Texas. So I'm your gal. If you ever have any questions, you can come to me. And I'll just go briefly over the properties that we have. So I'm not sure if you know of all the properties that we have, but we do have Sir Richard Branson. He personally selected these properties, and they each have their own unique story to tell. So I'll start with, we have Necker Island and Mosquito Island, which is in the British Virgin Islands. We have our Casbah Tamadat, which is in Morocco in the High Atlas Mountains. We have Mont Rochelle, which is in Franschhoek in South Africa. And we also have Ulusaba, which is another lodge, which is in the Sabi Sand Reserve. And then over in Europe, we have our lodge in Switzerland and Sambagnola in Majorca. So definitely an interesting collection. But today I'll walk you through a little bit more of Mahali, Mzuri, so you get a better idea of the lodge. And just before we start, so I just want to give you a brief update about COVID and traveling, and hopefully, you know, we're waiting on those travel bans and government restrictions pretty much regarding US travel and all of that. But right now, the properties that I listed are all closed until at least July 31st. Of course, we're optimistic and hopeful they'll open come August, but at this point it seems you know, a bit unlikely. For Mahali, Mzuri specifically, they are working on a reopening strategy, so hopefully that we'll have more news on that. But right now, it's really just depending on those travel bans and government restrictions. So yeah, so here's beautiful Mahali, Mzuri again, so you can see a few photos of it. This is Sir Richard Branson's 12 tented camp. And it really came about through Richard Branson's love of Africa. He had visited Kenya during the launch of the Virgin Atlantic Airways flight to Nairobi in 2007. And at that point, he learned of the threat posed to the Maasai Mara ecosystem. So this really added to his desire to make efforts to protect the area and the path of great migration. So after several years of negotiations establishing himself within the local communities, Mahali, Mzuri opened in August of 2013. And just so you know, so Mahali, Mzuri means beautiful place in Swahili, and I think that truly describes the location and the camp quite perfectly. So yeah, so just to jump, I'll reiterate what Wilson had said about flights. Flights from the US should fly directly into Nairobi's international airport. You're then transferred to Nairobi's Wilson Airport, where there are a number of domestic airlines that fly from there. The closest airstrip to Mahali, Mzuri, as Wilson said, is the Olare Rock, and that's approximately a 25-minute drive to Mahali. So it's quite fun. You land, you meet your guide, you get on the game drive vehicle, and you're whisked away on pretty much your first game drive of your stay. So you get to see the lay of the land, and then you arrive to camp. Daily flights operated by Safari Link, of course, and Air Kenya. And also, like Wilson mentioned, we can arrange a private helicopter transfer, which can land right outside of the camp. And here's just a map so you can see the layout of the camp. It takes, I would say, approximately 7 minutes to get from each end. You have 6 tents on either side of the main gathering tent. And it's really honestly the most beautiful plot of land I've ever seen. You have the river running right through, just directly in front of the main gathering tent. So during the Great Migration, there's lots to see directly from your tent, which is amazing. And so here are the tents here. So they were designed by a Kenyan architect. So the colors of the tents, as you can see, they really blend in with the natural landscape. We have 12 tents in total, and we can accommodate up to 24 guests at one time. And then our central gathering space. So this main tent is actually known as Opal, which means a gathering place or a place to meet. And it features, there's 2 different areas. You have your one main lounge area. And then in that lounge area, you have an open fireplace. There's a library of books. There's iPads for guest use, iPod speaker system. There's even games, and there's plenty of movies for adults and children. And then just along a short walkway, we have our dining area. So linking the 2 areas together, as you can see, there is that huge outdoor terrace with a central fire pit, which looks over the valley. So a really perfect place to enjoy before or after dinner. I know when I was there, as I mentioned earlier, we had the Maasai warriors came in and did the dance, the traditional dance, and it was really impressive, especially with that sunset in the background. We also, just to point out too, because I know many of you have your binoculars with you, we do have binoculars available for guests. They'll be on the game drive vehicles. We also have a large high-powered telescope for stargazing. And there's also, of course, complimentary Wi-Fi throughout the camp. And then also just in this main gathering tent area, just to point out, we do have a gift shop which supports the local artisans. So guests can purchase a range of gifts and clothing, including, of course, your traditional Maasai blankets and robes and jewelry and that beautiful beadwork that I spent my fair share of money on because it was so stunning. And generally in this area, there'll be a member of staff in the bar area. However, just like any one of Sir Richard Branson's properties, we do encourage guests to help themselves to whatever they want at any time, truly to make themselves feel at home. And so each of the 12 tented suites are named after a different Maasai tribe. So while they're similar, as you can see there, in decor, they do vary with different colors and artwork and furniture pieces. All of them are king beds, and then 10 of the 12 tents can be turned into twin beds. And also it's pretty great. And I think I'm quoting Wilson on this, but he did say it's like nature's air conditioning. You have the option to leave the window flaps up during the night, or you can put them down. But it was wild to me to experience like 88, 90-degree weather, and then at night you have a heated water bottle in your bed because it drops down to 60. So it's that nice difference throughout the day. So you might want to leave them open or keep them closed. And then there's also mosquito nets that are available to be left up or down. And at all of our properties, most of our Virgin Limited Edition properties, you get the fully stocked mini bars. They're refreshed daily and complimentary to the guests. And these views, stunning. So just gorgeous views right from your terrace. You can come back from your morning game drive and enjoy a beverage as the wildlife passes below, have your coffee. We were actually on a game drive just below in that valley there, and you could see a giraffe just outside of my tent. I took these great pictures, but they could really come up close. We saw lions from the tent. We saw elephants right in the river there. So pretty amazing. And all the comforts you'll have in your room, as I mentioned, the mini bar. In addition to that, we have tea and coffee, bathrobes, slippers. You have your extra blankets when it gets cool, ponchos. The hot water bottles is such a nice thing to come home to at the end of the day. It's in your bed waiting for you. The insect repellent, of course. We have Africology amenities and much more. Pretty much everything you could need or want. And so we have 2 family tents available. I know Wilson had mentioned we do allow children 2 and up now, but this is just an example of the 2 family tents. So we turn these sofas into beds for the children. So they have a nice area there. We can arrange for different activities tailored to kids. We've done kite flying, decorating cookies, board games, books, and a game console. Always trying to keep the kids entertained. And in terms of game drives, so we organize, of course, the twice daily game drives. And as Wilson went through this a bit, but we're on a private conservancy, of course, so we can organize game drives. No rushing back to camp for sunset like you would the Mara Reserve. We also do the surprise sundowners and beautiful bush dinners. And so here's our team. So of course you are guided by the excellent, experienced Maasai. So you can have that truly fascinating insight into their culture as well. And just to talk about migration season and game viewing, I was lucky enough to visit in November, which is technically outside of the Great Migration season, and we saw just about everything. Cheetahs with their cubs, leopards with cubs, you name it. It was like the best first safari you could ever dream of. But if your clients are concerned in terms of what time of year they want to go, Kenya, and specifically where we are in the Conservancy, there's really fantastic game viewing all year round. And of course, get to know our local Maasai communities. So apart from supporting the local communities through the employment and development of our staff, we want to have our guests understand the local traditions and our relationship with the local Maasai. The effects on sustaining the ecosystem of the Mara is incredibly important. So we really encourage the guests to go visit the local community, get involved if they do it, whether it's for one day or they want to visit the market or visit the elders. It's definitely something we encourage. By visiting the community, so we do a small charge of $20 US per person, and that's then held in the community's trust fund for any village projects. And just so you could see, those bottom 2 photos, the pool just on the left there, that's our beautiful pool. Facing out, you have that same view you would have from your tent. Again, fantastic game viewing just from there. And then our spa on the bottom right photo, so that's just a little walk down from the pool, but really incredible. You can, again, see any game viewing from there. And so kids, back to our kids, our little warriors, as we call them, age 2 years and older. We mentioned the enclosed vehicle if the kids are age 2 to 6. And we can also arrange for special menus for kids upon request, and babysitting is available at no extra charge. And on to food, which is very exciting. There's that photo there, Carol, on the top left of the breakfast with the hippos. But food is really a big passion for us at Virgin Limited Edition across all of our properties. We like to serve seasonal food. It'll be a much more relaxed affair for breakfast and lunch. And then in the evenings, everyone will come together in our main dining area for their meal. We'll switch it up with menus each evening. They've been known to throw an amazing traditional Kenyan barbecue, which is pretty incredible. And also, of course, the real wow factor is that bush dinner, which you can see, actually the sundowners just on the top right. But yes, bush dinners, of course, have a special dinner under the stars, very exciting. And then afterwards, guests can retreat to, if you're having dinner in the main tent, they can retreat, like I said, to the terrace area and sit around the fire pit. All food and drinks are included in the rates, which is great. And of course, your twice daily game drives are included as well. And so here's just so you can see for future, if you'd really like to get involved, we have Wednesdays, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can join our live game drive, our Sofa Safari. just visit our Instagram at Virgin Limited Edition. Yeah, and it's pretty exciting. We also have one for our lodge at Ulusaba, and we're also doing yoga now at Necker Island. So I can send you those times. And yeah, so just to recap, like I mentioned, twice daily game drives included, all meals, drinks, unlimited access to the Conservancy are all included in the rates. We have some offers and packages for coming out for the coming year, which I can send, and I can send you our rates as well, our nightly rates. And lastly, to get you started or continue your happy hour, we have our traditional Kenyan cocktail, the dawa cocktail. So dawa actually means medicine in Swahili, and indeed this drink does a fine job as a rejuvenating tonic in Kenya's hot weather. So it is the national drink of Kenya, and the main ingredient would be your honey. Which is very fitting for a country that actually has a long history of traditional beekeeping. So dawa typically comes with its own accessory, a chunky wooden, basically, or plastic dawa stick, which is used to add the honey to the drink and stir it up. And if you don't have one of those, obviously a spoon will do just fine, but it's quite simple. So it's just your brown sugar, lime, vodka, and honey. But yeah, that's a little take on the Kenyan cocktail there. And so I would be happy if I can answer any questions. Let's see here. Oh, actually, what I will do is show you one last video here. 1 second. Where did it go? Let's see if I can pull it up. Oh. Okay, here we go.
Motorogi Conservancy. Nago ore namba sapuk ore erishata sapuk oltung'anak oasisho te Mahali Mzuri naa keponu pookin ing'ua community. Nago kisaidia oleng egira aiger intomonok tialo intomonok naasita esiai ooresteti irkeek nikimpok enkare nikiata ntoyie naagira aasisho tooruumi nikiata guide naijo iyiok neeku kisaidia iyiok oleng enaa irmaasai Mali.
go. I hope you feel like you were there. A little escape.
I feel like I should be lifting up a lion cub to the everyone below.
That was my intention.
It's just beautiful. It's just so broad. It's just so. I think most of our planners are here in the Southeast, and we're in kind of hilly area. We're just not used to those vistas, right? It's just seeing something way out on the horizon is so breathtaking, at least to me.
Definitely. It's incredible.
Lyndsey, this was fantastic and so different, so unique, and so very different than what we're used to. So I have a great, I think, just a first question of, these are planners who bring groups. And Wilson alluded to the fact that whenever you come during the year, you're going to see some sort of wildlife. But, is it always that way? I mean, is it truly that if you show up in October or if you show up in May, you're going to see something happening out there? Because when you bring your group for this experience, you really do want to walk away with something that is stunning.
Absolutely. I would say, Wilson, who's there most of the year, he would definitely, I would think, would agree. But I think much of the year you are guaranteed to see wildlife, and you may not find that leopard that one trip, but we were there in November outside of Great Migration, and we saw everything. I was just blown away. I think where the camp sits determines a lot of that, and these guides are incredible. Many of them, they know that land like nobody else. It's incredible. They'll see something before you even can acknowledge the fact that something may be around. It's really incredible. So yeah, I would say there's a good chance pretty much all year round that you will experience what we just saw, and if not more. So yes, I hope that hopefully answers. You can never guarantee, so I can't quite say 100%, but yes, for the most part. And another thing too, and I don't know if anyone would be interested in this, but we do game reports. So the guides will send us game reports as to what they've seen that week with photos. So that can kind of be helpful. And if clients are interested in that, and before they make a decision, they want to know what's been going on the last month or the last few months, we can certainly provide that, which I think is helpful. It's helpful for me to know in the middle of January what's being seen and outside of Great Migration.
So sort of like if you went to a coastal resort, you'd get the high tide and low tide report. You're looking at hippos are high today, zebras are very low, right? Not so much.
And it's amazing. They take such great photos too. So for me, it's fun now being quite obsessed with the safari life to see that.
So I'm interested that your rate includes your meals and alcohol and whatnot, but you don't tout yourself as an all-inclusive. So what would fall outside of the realm of your of a group fee, for instance?
Sure. I think it would depend on what for example, if they wanted to do a hot air balloon excursion, that would be separate. That goes through a different company. But mainly everything you're there for, the game drives, and the guides are not limiting you to the twice daily game drives. If somebody was interested in a night drive, they can certainly arrange that. So all of your game drives, your meals are included, taxes, and then really additional spa treatments, of course, would be extra and added fee. Anything you buy at the gift shop, of course, and then any outside of our camp excursions would be additional. But we work with some really great people. I know Richard Branson had been down there with a big group, and they did the hot air balloon excursion, and everyone went out on the game drive together. really great with groups. I think it's like a fantastic setup for groups because you have your own space, you have your own tent, yet you have that main gathering area where everyone comes as they trickle their way down for cocktails or dinner and breakfast. So it is a great setup for groups. But other than that,
Lyndsey,
yes?
you said additional spa. Is there any spa that is included or any spa that you do is additional fee?
So we have a spa on our property. It's just down from the pool area. So spa treatments would be an additional cost.
Okay, so there is no spa included.
No spa included.
Okay,
It's
thank you.
on property, but the treatments would be additional.
Thank you.
Lyndsey, I have a question. Since everyone here is in the incentive or group space, what does your concession / pricing for groups? Are there policies, guidelines, things that would give folks an idea what the pricing would look like for, let's say, a buyout of 12 couples?
Sure. You know what? I would like to check back with Wilson on that, and I can certainly send it out. I think they were working on the new rates, but I can absolutely get those to you with all of the policies listed, terms and conditions. I think it'll be easier if it's written out in one place as well. Yeah, I'll make a note of that.
And the second part is, what is the ideal duration of time to be spent in one safari lodge like yours? And is it combinable with Ula Saba? Is that a practical combination?
Sure. So Finch Hattons is a property that's in Saba West, and we do a lot of combination trips with that property. It's a great introduction to safari. It's different in terms of more hiking, and you don't have that wide open plain. Just a different scenery. The tents are set up next to the riverbed, so you have the hippos right out there. We do a lot of combinations with that. I would say we've done 4 nights at Mahali Mzuri, and then you do 3 nights at Finch Hattons. I was at Mahali Mzuri for 3 nights. Definitely a 4th night there's so much to see. It's so beautiful. I mean, we did so much, but every day was just so exciting and so different. Everything you were seeing, all the different places you were going to. I think 4 nights is perfect, if not 5 for a group if they're doing one trip, one lodge. But we have people staying.
Sorry to interrupt. Would you mind putting the link to this other resort that you might recommend as a combo? Would you put that in the chat box so everyone can grab that as well? Thanks.
Absolutely. Yeah, but we do have people stay up to a week even.
Okay, and Lyndsey, while you're doing that, a couple of questions. You mentioned or in your presentation, the opening, the reopening, and what lift do you have right now into Nairobi? Who is flying there, and how would we get there from the southeast?
Yeah, so right now it would be U.S. travelers are not going into Kenya right now. I think it's internally, that's who once they open, that's who it would be sold to first. But then as soon as it's lifted for U.S. travelers, we can certainly let you know. We're hopeful by August, September, that's the likelihood, but we can't, it's hard to confirm the dates right now, but
What's the routing? Do you have any idea what the routing might be from either Atlanta or Charlotte? Do all the flights most conveniently go over New York, or are there other routings that are sensible for lift?
Yeah, sure. I think the easiest conveniently would be into New York, and then the direct flight on Kenya Airways. I know some are hesitant to fly Kenya Airways, and they prefer going via Europe and then into Kenya. So it's really a preference of airlines, but you do have that great direct flight New York to Nairobi, and then otherwise into, say, London, and then down into Nairobi.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Does anyone have any more questions for Lyndsey? Lyndsey, this was so much fun.
I'm so glad. It was fun for me too. I was like, I get to pretend I'm going on safari for a little while.
Okay, Lyndsey, I know it's super random, but that's, I feel like, my job at this event. But the rubber ducky on the bathtub looks like a bit of a warrior. What is that? What's the significance?
Yes, so he's actually dressed as a Maasai warrior. So if you saw in the video, yes. So those are, it's so funny. I'll go to trade shows and I'll go to events, and rubber duckies are a hot commodity. People are like, I collect rubber duckies. So they're a huge hit. We also have a zebra, one for Ulu Saba. We have our Necker Island duck is in a bikini. So they're all a little bit different. But yes, that's the Maasai warrior. Yeah.
Thank you.
And I see in the chat, somebody asked for the Dawa cocktail recipe. I can send that, yes. So I'll just send everything to you, Carol and Whitney, and you can
send it please to Whitney, and she can disseminate it to everyone who's on the call and ask for it. And anything that's in the flyer she created for you will be forever and ever on our website. So if you want her to embed that before she sends it to our webmaster, then that can go right into your flyer.
That would be great.
Yeah,
sure.
That way, a year from now, when some of you are looking for a really unique incentive destination, you can come onto our website and you can find Lyndsey and all there is to know about her beautiful safari lodge. Yeah.
Thank you. And
see, I did have one question on a personal note, just to give us like the headline of how it is living in New York right now.
Oh, so I live in Brooklyn, and in a 1-bedroom apartment with my fiance, and we work here every day. So the last few months we luckily got to go upstate and like escape a little. We got a puppy, but then the Black Lives Matter protests go up and down our street just about 2 weeks ago every night. And we would go down to the silent protests and things like that. But it is a strange world. All of Brooklyn is boarded up, much of it, the stores, and I think they're slowly starting to open. But I'd say a bit chaotic all around.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm so sorry you're so close to that.
I know, thank you. Luckily, we have this nice holiday coming up this weekend. So tomorrow we're headed upstate to some green grass. That's all I want.
Well, enjoy that.
Brooklyn, isn't it?
Yeah, enjoy that. All right, we're approaching the 5 o'clock hour, so we will hear from Carol. Carol, I sent you the first 5 to log in.
But before I tell you who the first 5 is and what they're getting, I would like, this is your chance, people. Whoever has gone all in, I'd like you to speak up so that we get a full screen of you and so that Kelly can have one last opportunity to evaluate your story and your
I have.
I know you have. Go, Angela, go.
Okay, I don't know how to use this camera, but this chair I'm sitting in actually was shipped from Kenya, Maasai Mara.
Wow.
Yeah. So tell me if you see it.
Yes, beautiful. It's carved.
Yeah, it's all carved, and it has lions and everybody on it. And then
that's awesome.
Next to me is Giraffe.
Oh, wow.
Okay. And she came from Tanzania. And this here is an egg I had for breakfast. And then I painted it. It's an ostrich egg that actually comes from South Africa.
Wow. You picked up the whole idea pretty quickly, Angela.
Yeah.
Very good.
And look at this. These are all African masks.
Yeah.
This is Kenya. That's Kenya too. And then further there I have Senegal and Tanzania, South Africa.
Incredible.
Zimbabwe.
So you have a whole Africa room in your house, essentially.
Oh, this is not all. One more.
Oh, okay.
Actually, two, three more. You see the sculpture?
Yeah. We'll hold it up in front of the camera. Okay, yeah.
That comes from Kenya as well.
Nice.
Oh, and then there is a big sculpture behind me.
That's amazing.
You see this one?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, wow.
That's
Beautiful.
what?
That's an African artist.
Yeah, Zimbabwe, the country Zimbabwe. It's a movement called Shona movement. You see this one?
Yeah.
That's a different.
For all of us who go through Atlanta Airport, it kind of, right? Like it looks like some of those that are in the walkway when you're going between terminals.
Oh, you want to hear the story about that? I have those sculptures throughout my garden, and I had a party, and our mayor at the time came to the party and saw the sculptures, and he said, "Where are they from?" And I connected him with this Shona movement in Zimbabwe. That's how they came to Atlanta.
That's how they came to be in the airport.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
yeah.
That's awesome. That is
The
awesome.
ostrich eggs, Richard Branson actually has ostrich egg chandeliers at Necker Island that are from South Africa. So they're beautiful.
Wow.
Really beautiful.
Well, I have more, but you'd get bored.
I'm impressed.
Well, we never get bored with all the wonderful stuff you guys bring to the party. So who else wants to show off for Kelly? I'm thinking Laura Miller, Carol, no,
Yeah, please.
Kathy West.
Okay, my neighbor is cutting his grass, so I'm like
That is not
horrible
convenient.
background noise. But somebody asked for me to, like, you know,
Show and tell.
up. I wanted to see really close. So here's the deal about Little Miss Who. I found this dog living in the bushes on the side of the road in Raleigh, North Carolina. And I told her for the first 4 months that I had her how brave and fierce she was. She is brave and fierce. She was so afraid, and I trained her to do agility, and she's now at the master level in dog agility.
Aww.
Amazing.
Laura, oh my God, she was living in the bush of Raleigh. Please take a picture of yourself. That is the cutest thing. It's almost making me cry. What? Do what?
I said I've already won, so I'm probably ineligible, but I just
No, you're not ineligible. This is a Kelly decision.
Yeah, we didn't do that.
Great effort. Okay, who wants to go next? You guys bring us a ton of joy, by the way, so we're just gonna let you all show off because it makes me cry almost. That was awesome. Who else wants to go? You don't speak, you can't win.
I'm standing down. You have too many. I mean, I really loved Angelica.
You look like
I
the
mean,
bride
yeah,
of Dracula today somehow. I don't know.
I agree. I'm standing down as well. I mean, I gave it my best shot. I've got the, the dust. I've got the authentic African hat that smells, the jacket as well.
Your husband is in the pool there. Your husband's in the pond.
My, legit binoculars. But I mean, everybody else did such a fabulous job. And by the way, Kelly, those are groovy glasses you have on. I don't know what those are, but those are cool.
We all want them. Whatever they are,
those are amazing. Yes.
Hey, Carol.
Kara?
I'll go.
Oh, yes. Okay, Maria.
Rebecca.
Yeah.
I was born in South Africa.
Get your flag.
Lived there. It's right behind me. That's right. That's our flag. Lived in right next to the Kruger National Park along the Crocodile River. And so we could literally go into the park within 15 minutes. And I spent childhood there just growing up with safaris.
No kidding.
Wow. So there was
we
a
heard that you were homesick looking at Lyndsey's presentation.
The best time to go, you should go, the best time is between March, April, May, June. But like you said, you can go in November and have great viewing.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to introduce you to the Amarula liqueur. This liqueur grows in the trees in the parks all over Africa. The fruit falls down and then they pick it and they make the liqueur. The elephants love it. They come from all over the country or the parks and feed on the fruit. The fruit ferments and the monkeys go and eat the fruit and they get drunk. And you can Google that about drunk monkeys in South Africa.
What does it taste like, Marika?
Sorry?
What does it taste like?
It's a little bit like a Bailey's liqueur, similar to that. So it ages in like a French oak. You typically have it with some ice. So you put in a little shot glass with ice on it. It's also great over ice cream as like a chocolate sauce dessert on it.
Lyndsey,
Thank
wasn't
you
that
for
on
sharing
your
that.
breakfast table with what was it, with the hippos? I swear I saw that bottle.
You can certainly have it there if you'd like. And then we also have Ulusaba. So Ulusaba are other properties on the border of Kruger National Park in the Sabi Sand Reserve. So that's definitely where you'll find it. But I'm sure they have plenty on site at Mahali Mzuri. It's
So Lyndsey, just to help you with the Sabi Game Reserve, so an easy way to get there from the US is you can fly direct flights from New York, Atlanta, and DC to Johannesburg. And then you catch a direct flight into Skukuza Airport. So it's a really easy lift once we can travel again.
Yeah, for Ulusaba, we happen to have our own airstrip, so it makes things a bit easy. So you can fly from Joburg right into Ulusaba, which is quite convenient, which is great. Whereas Mahali Mzuri, you're landing at Olario Rock, and that's about a 25-minute ride. Yeah, they're both great options.
Before we turn this back to Kelly, I'd like Kate Demarest and Kara Carty to chime in so we can see what you've done here.
Just sitting out there.
Well, hi guys. I kind of, unfortunately, maybe much like Safari, which I've never experienced, I lost my lion because she preferred the air conditioning, but I'll send you some pictures. This is the mane. I got the mane left over, but she was not into it anymore. But I've got my binoculars and my cheesecloth, so.
Oh, fun.
Great. And then I think Kate took the glamorous route. Kate, speak up. She's still with us? She may be muted.
Oh no, I think she's gone.
Oh, she's gone. Wow. You know, you can't give up with this crowd. This is not good. All right, Kelly. Before Kelly tells us who is her choice today, because honestly, I don't know how she chooses. This is hard. Wanted to announce that the first five in this week would be Carol Nall, Kathy West, Teresa Lopez, Katrina Lawrence, and Laura Miller. And what we have for you is Richard Branson's biography, which unfortunately you can't see, though I am holding it right in front of my camera. His latest autobiography, Finding My Virginity, because he's all about the sass. So we have a copy of Richard Branson's Finding My Virginity for all five of you. Please enter into the chat box right now your home address so that we can get those to you as soon as possible.
Or wait a
please,
minute.
I beg of you. What? No?
I'm sorry.
Okay.
If you don't feel comfortable doing that, you can email us your mailing address.
Okay.
It's a very good read, by the way. Very entertaining.
I'm sure it's going to be entertaining. I love him, and his vision is fantastic. So yes, those first five, please send us by email or text your email address. Please accompany that with a picture of yourselves. I want lots of great pictures this week to put on our Facebook page. I beg of you. The other thing that I wanted to announce, because ironically, we do have some awards, some recognition for what we consider our perfect attendance. We wanted to recognize in our first series of Zoom calls a few people who have just shown up week after week, all in, giving it their best shot, and we wanted to acknowledge them by providing them with a bottle of wine from the Wine to Water. It's actually Bodewell. Percentage of the sale goes to Wine to Water. They're excellent wines. Ironically, one of the people isn't on the call right now. He's been on every call we've had. So those four people are Kathy West, Barry Seidel, who already knows this, Scott Sewart, and Ann Bufalowski. So please make sure we have your mailing address. We would like to send you a gift to acknowledge your participation. Thank you so much. And then finally, I want to thank Lyndsey for being with us.
Majesty coming up?
Huh?
Sorry.
No, you're last. You just hang out just one more second. One more second. I want to thank Lyndsey because I comb IMEX for opportunity to bring fresh insights and good resources to all of you. I met Lyndsey last year at IMEX and one of her colleagues. I've always thought that Richard Branson's vision and his collection of tourist, not just his resorts, but his airline and all of his ventures are just filled with vision. Love the products, love him. And so thank you, Lyndsey. We welcome you to our community.
Thank you.
We'll be hearing back from Lyndsey because she's got some yummy things to talk about. We're having her back later in the year to talk about Morocco. And we obviously all want to hear a little bit more about Necker Island and Ulusaba as well. So
absolutely.
Lyndsey, welcome to the family. We'll have you back. And we already have you on the calendar for later in the year. All right.
Thank you. This was so great. This has been so much fun.
Thank you. We do specialize in fun, we think. All right, Kelly, go.
Yeah, if I had a white flag, I would wave it this week.
I would not
wow.
want you.
Yeah, no, wow. The honorable mentions are numerous, and I just appreciate everyone's I really appreciate everyone's creativity. And so this week I would like to go with the one who I thought showed ingenuity when it came to this destination and maybe thinking outside the box a little bit on what was available and or not. And so this week I would like to award Kara the Maui Jim sunglasses of her choice.
Because her lion strolled off into the sunset.
But I know, but her lion attacked her earlier and she survived. And the cheesecloth on the hat and the hunting rifle, I just thought that was,
the cheap cloth and the hunting rifle, that's what it takes, huh? I don't know, Kathy.
But I thought it was amazing. I thought everybody was so great. I didn't know how to choose. Marika is from there. Angela practically has it in her home. She lives there and is now, I know, responsible for the great Atlanta airport. Thank you, Angela. Because I actually do stop and read about those as I go through.
Do you?
It's the gun. The gun.
Hey, Carol's got the smelly hat.
It was the gun.
Was an actual firearm there? That's what did it, Kathy. You've got to bring the firearm. All right.
Yeah, I love the firearm.
So that all of you know that there's good stuff to come so that you can be thinking about it. We are taking a bit of a holiday break on Friday. There will be no hospitality hangout on Friday. Everybody take a breath. Come back with us next Friday. But next Wednesday, we are celebrating Puerto Rico with an overview of the island and its readiness to return to the world of incentives and meetings. We have as a special opportunity to view the brand new Park Hyatt, which was formerly, I can't remember who they formerly were, but they have recently rebranded, reopened, and renovated. They were the Paradisus, in San Juan. And and we're going to be doing a salsa lesson. So just so you know, get ready, practice your moves. We're going to be doing a salsa lesson. And they are generously offering an incredible prize of a 3-night stay at the Hyatt Regency Resort with a pair of airline tickets. So that will be the award for going all in next week. I can't imagine you guys could bring any more creativity than you already do, but I can't wait to see what everybody's got up their sleeves for next week's celebration of Puerto Rico. They're back.
Yeah, this is our largest prize package so far. So we encourage you to, brush up on your salsa steps between now and then. Get your slinkiest dress on. And Barry,
you're gonna have to do something, buddy. I don't know. The yellow t-shirt, we're kind of getting tired of it.
Barry, we're ready to see you in your salsa outfit, okay? That's all I'm saying. I'm ready for the men. I'm ready for the men to show up the way that the women do.
I agree.
So,
where's Greto? Greto's on here. He didn't even put the camera on.
That's right.
Okay, I'm coming in drag next week.
Atta girl, Kathy. Atta girl. I don't even have to ask who said that.
Oh. Thank you all for being here, as always. Thank you. And we're going to take Friday off. So please enjoy your 4th of July weekend. We hope that you do something fantastic. Lyndsey, please get out of the get out of your apartment. Please do something. Take that puppy and your fiance and go see some green grass. And I think we take that for granted. So just, you know, we are there with you in thoughts, and we will all see you on next Wednesday. So everyone, thank you for coming on our Sofa Safari Day. Cheers.
Thank you,
Bye.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye.